Okay, so in Magic, permanents are things that affect the board for like multiple turns, right? Translating that to when you have a crush on someone, you need something that you can always fall back on to like keep the riz going. They might be really easy to use, like a creature that just attacks, which would be like knowing their favorite shows. You can just keep talking to them about it, or something that requires a mana sink, like constantly buying them their favorite snack. A permanent in this metaphor would just be something that is like a repeatable threat that advances your position in the game. Same way, instants and sorceries are balanced around one-time big effects that you can play to gain a big advantage, but you know, they only happen once. How I see it, they're like big romantic moves, asking them out on a date, first times, marriages. There's things that are very hard to replicate, but they will always give you a bigger advantage than a permanent usually does. So you want to be making these types of moves or playing these types of spells in a board state that is appropriate for the spell that you're casting. Okay, so card quality is obviously a thing. There are cards that are better than others, and that you should be running cards that are good into most matchups. Think like knowing how to cook will always be a staple in the meta, but knowing extensive Warhammer lore will only improve your matchup if the person you're interested in is also a huge Warhammer nerd. It's not a bad strat, it just means you should be picking your matchups that you're going to be favorable into, especially if you're going to be stocking your deck full of pet cards. As previously mentioned, there are meta staples, but there are also rotations and bannings. Think things that are like knowing the current trending songs as the current meta, or talking about one person that was once popular but now is controversial as a banning. These will improve your consistency of your deck and, you know, improve your matchups into more people in the meta. Some cards lose value if your opponent knows about them, right? So for instance, if the plan is to present some threat so that your game ender will go unremoved, that won't go as well as you want if your hand gets like thought seized or Gitaxian Probe, because now your opponent knows and they can plan for it accordingly. Same way, something like asking someone out or admitting your feelings loses part of its value if the person you're courting can see it coming. If you're just some fucking piss random, and if you know you didn't try to riz them up or anything, then they're gonna say no because like you're weird. So to avoid that, obviously we have to talk about tempo. Dating and trading card games are all about tempo. You want to be making a move or deploying your threats every turn, right? Because once you miss a turn of spending your mana to do something or executing your game plan, you start to fall behind. Just like the fact that there's a mana curve, you can't just run out big expensive moves without first playing early moves to advance your win con and survive to get the mana to cast those spells. You also want to be spending your mana efficiently. The same way you want to be spending all the mana that you can, you want to be making the most amount of moves you can, because when you develop a relationship, it allows you to make better moves, right? For example, at the start, they weren't comfortable with really hanging out with you one-on-one, but once you gain their trust, you can do that more. Since you scaled to this much mana, aka you scaled to this much trust with them, then you should be able to make bigger moves to them and it be more reciprocated. Lay the groundwork before you fully go in is what I'm saying. Okay, there are 4 big deck types, right? It's aggro, control, combo, and midrange. So first I'll talk about aggro. Aggro is used to define a deck that plays small, efficient threats and hopes to take an opponent's life total down as quickly as possible. As that reflects in romance, it is someone that goes in and goes hard. But not like that, but I mean like, they love hard and fast, basically. The same way you'd play the most efficient damage spells and permanents is the same way you'd shower the object of your affection in as many compliments and smooth lines that work on the most amount of people as possible. Go in with a few lines, empty the tank, and dazzle the target before they can come to their senses and realize, wait, this guy's a freaking rat. For someone that is like control, this is people who are like pining for years, you know, the best friends secretly in love type people. They usually try to outvalue their opponents, like, you know, establish an insurmountable lead of information, rapport, and trust with their person of interest that no one else would even be able to come close to the type of relationship that, you know, they have. They use counters on removal on only the biggest threats that they can, you know, kind of gaslight, sabotage the new person that their crush isn't interested in, but start like hiding in fear when the person that they have a crush on starts liking someone else, or worse, gets a partner that's really good for them, which basically gives them, like, at best it's like ward hit yourself in the face, at worst it's like protection from enemy player. They just have to pray for their silver bullet sideboard answer, and just like Magic, this playstyle is kind of pathetic and just as masochistic to play. Combo. So combo is a type of style where you try to maximize the consistency of your own game, thus interacting less with the opponent's board. So these are the people that are either, you know, they know that they can pull and they just have to execute their game plan, or people who are just in it for themselves and use relationships as a way to validate their existence. You know, like how Storm is just assembling your cost reduction and card advantage to win in one turn. Same way someone might lock someone in a relationship and just use their credit card to buy all the stuff that they want. Last is midrange. The balance of every type of game plan. centered around being able to adapt to any playstyle but not being especially good at one. It had good answers to the meta while also being able to generate advantage and have good clocks, right? Same thing applies here. These are the types of people who go with trends. They pick up on things that a lot of people like so that they can seem more valuable and slowly transition into their own real game plan that shows what makes them unique and a good partner. But remember that at the end of the day, it's all about winning. You don't want to just be surviving. If you're at the point where you're on the defensive and you don't see a window out, you might as well just start swinging for the hills. Make risky plays because you're behind. At the end of the day, your life is a resource. And as long as you get the win with you still standing, that means you won. So get out there, swing, and make some plays.